Today, I want to emphasize the significance of the Money 2020 conference on the global move towards digital payments and the significance that Ripple and XRP have as part of this movement, the only company that currently has a complete solution and really that can potentially be a partner with the majority of those who are working to enhance digital payments, cross-border payments, and web monetization. Events are all lining up to one momentous occasion where XRP potentially becomes the primary digital asset used globally to move money. Ripple is present and making waves at the highest levels of the financial world. It isn't just about what Ripple is doing, it's also about the financial institutions and the banks are getting in line to begin making the larger transition to pouring millions, if not billions, of investment dollars into the digital asset space. Hi, this is Jeff with the HODL Report. Join me on today's video as we explore the digitizing of the world's economy. If you like today's video, please give a thumbs up, leave some comments. I'll always enjoy the discourse, and remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I'm going to keep a link to the Ledger Nano S in my description, so if you haven't gotten one already to start taking control of your digital asset investments, I highly recommend that you do so. So, disruptive financial technology of blockchain. Companies like Ripple are truly changing the global financial landscape. The question is, how many of the current global financial players will be there as the new technology takes root? We see big moves, as we saw in the past week or so, from Fidelity and many others. But is it too little, too late? Or does it really all come down to the groups like Ripple building out and proving that the technology works, that the technology is important, that the technology is really industry changing, and that the big financial groups are simply waiting to embrace it when the time comes, when they say, hey, it's ready to jump in. I tend to lean towards the latter, that the big fish are really sitting on the sidelines patiently waiting as this new technology develops and really proves itself, while at the same time they're quietly staking their claims within this space and to this space. There's obviously been, initially there had been some pushback as we had seen the large institutions spreading FUD against this space, meaning the digital asset space, the cryptocurrency space, and really as we saw the resistance, and I talked about this on a previous video, they're showing the resistance, they're spreading the FUD, but at the same time they were getting involved in this space. And so we see two faces to what these financial institutions are doing. And if we take a quote out of out of the Borg from Star Trek, they would fly around and they would say resistance is futile. And I believe that this is 100% true when it comes to digital assets and it comes to these big financial institutions. The big players know that it's futile for them to resist any longer, and their current moves now really show that they know it. And as we start uncovering and really digging in, we can tell that they were preparing themselves ahead of time, although they were telling the public that they were against it. And as they were really trying to, again, they were trying as much as they possibly could to resist and hold on to the old way of doing things, but that just obviously doesn't work. The Sibos conference and the 2020 Money conference, or the Money 2020 conference, are further proof that the new financial structure is real and is taking root at a faster and faster pace. The companies represented at these events, the keynote speakers and the topics all lead to one analysis, and that is that blockchain is a disruptive technology that's here to stay, and all of the big players are beginning to get on board. They know that really the alternative is to be left behind and to be cut out of the new direction that the world economy is going to be moving in, the world financial economy, moving money, and they need to maintain their presence and their status in this space. Before I go any further, let me just take a little side detour and just quickly go through and take a look at the Money 2020 event. We'll look at some of the key speakers and the agenda that they set up for the conference. All right, so I want to start with the slide right from the intro on their website, and I kind of tapped into this, and I thought it was really telling as far as what this conference is all about. And they highlight it right here. The entire ecosystem will be there. It's truly a who's who of the payments industry. So the Money 2020 conference, everybody's there. And if you look, this is just a small selection, but then we're going to take a look at the speakers in a second. But here we have American Express, Bank of America, Dash, Google, Samsung Pay, IBM, Visa, Wells Fargo. I mean, it's very, very impressive overall in terms of who's there. But then when we get into the speakers, this is really where we see the who's who of the industry. All right, so really everybody's here. Look at from Citigroup, BlackRock, Amazon, Shopify, you've got Quicken Loans, Fortune, Bain Capital Ventures, Morgan Stanley, Stripe, Coinbase, Anderson Horowitz, you have, let's see, FICO, just some of the key wizards in the finance industry, in the payments sector, Wells Fargo, Core Innovation Capital, again, Wells Fargo, Google, and MasterCard. You know, it's amazing. It's just truly amazing as it goes on and on and on. And these are all speakers. So one of the keynote speakers from Ripple, we have Chris Larson as the executive chairman and co-founder of Ripple. There's Ripple has 3 speaking spots at the event. But these are all of keynote speakers that will be attending. Then when we get into some of these themes, the agenda, so they break down the agenda. And again, if we think about, you know, the concept is really the movement to digitizing the world's currencies and, you know, moving from cash fiat to this new way, to this new technology of digitizing currency. And really one of the key themes here is going to be blockchain and crypto. And what is blockchain and crypto going to do for the world's financial solutions? And so being that there's a heavy focus on blockchain and regulation, fintech for social good, and I think this is something that's very, very important. I've discussed it before in previous videos, which is how do you bring the underbanked or the unbanked, and here they're showing 2.5 billion people in the world, which is 36% of the world's population are unbanked. And what significance does that have when you do bring the unbanked into having direct access to all of the features of banking, and not just moving money cross-border for those foreign workers that might be sending money back home? That's just a small part of it, and I discussed it a little bit in a previous video, but this is, and I discussed it in another one just strictly on the unbanked, but this is a very, very important market. And again, it's 36% of the world's population, so imagine if you can take that additional 36% of the world's population, bring them into the world's economy as part of, allow them to grow their business, allow them to buy homes, to mortgage homes, to buy cars. If they can invest more money in their businesses through credit from the banks, what does that mean for the global economy as a whole when 36% of the population will now be taking part of the economy? And so what exactly can digital assets or the blockchain do to help that? Because at the end of the day, what are we talking about here? We're talking about disruptive innovation in financial services. This seems to be a common theme that they repeat over and over again, even within their topics. How can we help power a fair and more inclusive global financial system? And so I'm just looking at some of the key terms that they use, and as we start thinking about how does Ripple and XRP really fit into all of this, who will be the biggest winners and who could be left behind as fintech crosses geographical borders and new global hubs emerge, right? As we start to change the way money is transacted. Take a journey with us around the world of financial innovation. What is changing? And so digital identity. So this is important also, right? In terms of how much money identity thieves have stolen, right? $16 billion. This is from a 2017 report. Almost 20% of financially excluded adults globally are denied access to the market because they lack legal documents to prove their identity, so they can't even bank because of that. Now, what is blockchain technology going to be able to do to help them prove their identity? And I truly believe that that's the solution. It's not just one of the solutions, it is the solution that is going to really revolutionize that space and help bring them in. So here, look at this. Fintech, you say you want a money revolution. And so, yes, that's exactly what's happening. So only the most transformative ideas live here. Are you ready for the money revolution? So they keep mentioning, not only do you say you want it, but are you ready for it? Because it is coming, right? What revolutionary things are the movers and shakers doing to disrupt banking, payments, and finance? We know exactly what Ripple is doing to do that. And they're the ones that are really, just leaps and bounds ahead of the rest of the market right now in this space. So again, the event attendees and the speakers are really a who's who of the financial payments world. This is their conference. This is the conference, attracting top tier executives from business, banks, from app developers, from software companies, from those within the blockchain world. It would be an absolutely amazing conference to attend. I really wish I was there to be able to hear speakers from companies like Amazon, Microsoft, IBM, Airbnb, Coinbase, Litecoin, Ripple, of course, Uphold, and the list goes on and on and on. Many of the speakers at this event are involved at a very high level of the digital assets and blockchain technology. We see Asif Nirji, President and COO of Coinbase, Chris Larsen, Executive Chairman and Co-founder of Ripple, Jed McCaleb, Co-founder of Stellar. They're all represented as keynote speakers at the event, at the Money 2020 event. Ripple actually does have, I mentioned before, 3 very important speakers at the event. Again, Chris Larsen as a keynote, Ashif Burla, Senior VP of Product at Ripple, and David Schwartz, CTO of Ripple, all speakers at this event. And so this really shows the importance of what Ripple is doing for the financial world. The key decision makers are there and they're listening. But this conference isn't just about Ripple. It's about bringing a faster and a more direct, more secure form of payment to the commercial space for large corporations, for banks, for institutions, while also bringing the same for the retail customer, for the consumer, for you and me. Beyond this is providing access so that the entire world's population has the means to join the global economy, the digital economy. This means having the instruments to move the many unbanked in the developing countries to have direct access to all means of banking. Again, 36% of the world's population, and by all means of banking, I mean this giving those who currently again are unbanked the benefits from being banked in the global economy, for credit, for mortgages, for business loans, low-cost movement of money, low-cost transactions, and secure method for saving and investing. This is the future. The big banking institutions saw the disruptive technology, they fought it, and eventually they've given into it. They can no longer take advantage of customers through their financial dominance. They can no longer control the means of banking. They can no longer charge or overcharge for the basic means of transferring one's own money to another account in another country, for payments, for sending money to relatives in another country. It's now, this is it. The world is changing. The banks realize it. The financial institutions realize it. The disruptive technology of blockchain and digital assets like Bitcoin, Litecoin, and XRP, and companies like Ripple, Uphold, and others are the vehicles for this financial renaissance. If you enjoyed today's video, please remember to give a thumbs up, leave some great comments below. Remember to subscribe to the channel, share the channel with friends. Always enjoy adding new people to the channel. That's always a nice positive. Now, before I sign off, I do need to put out a quick disclaimer. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not giving any form of financial advice. But if I am going to give you any advice, then let it be this. Do your own research. Invest only what you can afford. Invest only what you can afford to lose. And don't buy or sell based on FOMO or FUD that's spread online. And with that, I look forward to seeing you on my next video. And keep on hodling your crypto.